Good evening, I'm Isaiah Jacob. After opening Big Ten play with a road win over the weekend, the Ohio State men's basketball team will host number 13 Illinois in its conference home opener tonight at 7:30. The game is being broadcast on Peacock, but you can hear it right here on The Fan. Pre-game coverage begins at 6:30. The Blue Jackets are also back in action tonight, facing off against the Carolina Hurricanes at 7:30. And in college football news, Julian Sayin was announced as one of 4 Heisman finalists. Alongside him, Indiana's Fernando Mendoza, Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame, and Vanderbilt's Diego Pavia. The Heisman ceremony is set for this Saturday night at 7. For the NFL, Phillip Rivers, the longtime quarterback who retired after the 2020 season, is rejoining the Indianapolis Colts on their practice squad. The news comes one day after Rivers' 44th birthday, instantly making him the oldest active player in the NFL. This update was sponsored by the BMI Federal Credit Union. Get a holiday loan and choose loan amounts from $1,000 to $5,000. Visit bmifcu.org/holiday loan for details.
Ring it up for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
He's standing away. He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Oh! Brad Rucker for the touchdown. Kraft shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
Off and rolling here on a Tuesday. I'm Brandon Beam hanging out with our guy, A-Ward Sports, Austin Ward. We got Isaiah behind the glass tonight. Austin, happy Tuesday to you, my friend. What's happening? Good to talk to you.
Is it Tuesday?
I don't know. I have no clue what day it is.
It's been a blur for the last 7 days. But, you know.
What so do you mean?
I don't know. Probably more so for the people in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, not the people who cover the team that reside there. But I think we saw the results of some of that stuff catching up with the Buckeyes on Saturday night at Lucas Oil Stadium. But between coaching moves and wrapping up the signing class and ultimately landing Chris Henry Jr. on Friday and then going and losing that game and then coming back home after a couple hours sleep for Selection Sunday and, you know, heading into this week and award season and people jetting all over the country and going to talk to Julian Sayin on Wednesday, which will be nice before he goes to New York City. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot
Heisman
going on.
finalist Julian Sayin.
Yeah, been a lot going on with the Buckeyes. Keeping us busy, which is good. It's better than the alternative, which is you lose a game and don't play again.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah.
Or you
not gonna happen.
Don't play a game this weekend, and then you say, you know what? We're not going to play again. We're just on our own merit, on our own accords. We're just not going to play again.
Who would do that?
I don't know who we're talking about there. We got a great show lined up for you coming up here at 7:30. The Ohio State basketball team will take on Illinois. Got you covered with the pregame coming up here at 6:30. Austin, what was your biggest takeaway from Saturday evening and kind of the aftermath of what you saw in Indianapolis? 13-10 game. Obviously, when this Ohio State offense is clicking, it can set the world on fire. It did not do that on Saturday. It did a nice job of getting into the red zone, did a nice job of getting close to scoring points, and you had 2 drives that wound up with 150 yards, basically an entire quarter eaten off the game clock, 0 points scored. I think that was, at least when I was doing the postgame show with Justin Zwick, that was the main takeaway that I had. Like, you get into those spots, you have to score points no matter what. Obviously, you miss the kick, and then you go for it on 4th down. Quarterback sneak happened. They review it. You don't get it. But I think that for me was just like, it's been not necessarily a problem all year, but we have been looking at it and talking about it, and then it reared its head up in a Big Ten championship game.
I don't think that it's wrong to call it a problem, and it has lingered throughout this entire season, and that's not me or you, Beamer, or Ohio State fans expecting more. That is Ryan Day. That is the standard of the program. 75% red zone drives ending in a touchdown. Is that a high standard? Of course it is. That's also how Ohio State runs its entire operation. The standard is the standard. They expect to compete for championships and win championships, and that's what's going to be required to do that. They have to be better in the red zone. There's no negotiation about that. There's no denying it. The Buckeyes are owning that situation as they prepare for the rest of this month to get ready for the Cotton Bowl. You know, you look at this program, and we would say, well, it's nitpicking. Yeah, they're using this 3 tight end personnel grouping. They're using this 4 tight end set. It's not working. It doesn't capitalize. It doesn't punch into the paint every single time they use it. But they're winning every game by 3 scores. They're gonna be fine. And it was okay to say that until it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And this was something that we pointed to. That was nitpicking. That was an area that Ohio State could improve on. And I'm not suggesting that they turned a blind eye to it. And Ryan Day says all the time, the issues are always there, and it shouldn't take a loss for you to have to go address them or fix them. But if you're talking about the biggest takeaway, that had to be a wake-up call for them. This stuff isn't working.
It hasn't worked.
It hasn't worked. Sometimes it would if you gave them multiple opportunities. You leave Nate Roberts out there at fullback. You put in Jelani Thurman and Bennett Christian. Eventually they move the pile enough and they get into the end zone. There are easier ways for the most talented team, the most talented offense in the country to score points. And the fact that they didn't do that in a game that they said they wanted to win, it was a hardware game. It was for a Big Ten championship. It was for the top seed. And they had every right to still win that game, but they couldn't execute when it mattered most down there in the red zone. And the play calling, the game plan, the execution, like all of it was short of the mark for them.
Yeah.
So they are now, especially because those two drives that you're talking about, Beam, they're really effective until you get down there inside the 10-yard line.
Super effective.
And
you did the job 90% of the way down.
We've seen that plenty throughout this year, but to win these games and to score touchdowns when you're playing the best level of competition, it requires just a little bit more. But those were totally empty drives because you missed a field goal and because you failed on a 4th and 1, the same way that you failed actually on a 4th down in the red zone against Michigan the week before with Julian Sayin losing his footing and putting his knee down. They didn't learn or adjust from that. You had another quarterback that you could use if you wanted to just sneak or if you wanted to do the quarterback power. We saw Lincoln Kienholz be involved. Now, that's hindsight. I'm not saying that would have automatically...
True, but it's not like we haven't seen Lincoln Kienholz in those situations already before this season. It's not like, oh boy, Lincoln Kienholz is coming in. We don't know what's going to happen. When number 3 enters the game, you know exactly what's going to happen. And I feel like Ohio State prides themselves by saying, when he comes into this game, you know what we're going to do, and you can't stop us.
But they also had used Lincoln Kienholz in the last 3 weeks of the regular season and let him throw and put that on tape so that you don't just know that it's automatically going to be a sneak. It's automatically going to be quarterback power. They can do other things. And again, I don't mean that as a criticism of Julian Sayin in any way, shape, or form. Or even that's the only way that Ohio State can improve their red zone, because clearly it's not. I think I would leave Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate on the field if it were me. I'm not an X's and O's genius.
That's a hot take.
I just think maybe those are the 2 best wide receivers in America. It probably puts some stress on the defense to account for them. There are a lot of ways that Ohio State can get that fixed, which is why it's a little bit confounding that it hasn't happened to this point. It was baffling to watch in Lucas Oil Stadium on Saturday night, knowing that you're only going to get one opportunity to win the Big Ten championship. The fact that they also missed the field goal, and then, Ryan Day chose not to go for that again on the 4th and 1 from the 9. You get 0 points out of those 2 drives. That's not even the touchdown standard. That's getting nothing is not acceptable for Ohio State in any way, shape, or form. That's dropped them down to number 44 in the country in red zone scoring overall. That is not the neighborhood that you want to live if you think you're going to win a national championship again.
No, it's absolutely not, too. But, when we were doing the immediate aftermath show on Saturday evening into Sunday morning, I looked at Justin in one of the breaks. I'm like, yeah, you know what? But my panic level for this loss, if you were to go 53 weeks removed from what you saw against Indiana to what you saw against Michigan in 2024, same score, right? 13-10, same problems we were talking about, been over a year. I'm like, my worry level coming off of that Michigan game, and I think I can speak for a lot of Ohio State fans here, was at about a 15 out of 10. My worry level coming off of the game against Indiana is at about a 1. It's not very high. They had a crazy week, and I'm just saying to myself, I'm like, if this isn't the wake-up call, then maybe we can start worrying a little bit more. But at the same time, I'm just like, listen, it was a trophy game. We're all excited. You're still going to be the number 2 team in the country. It's not a loss to Michigan. You already got over that hurdle. It was an emotional week. There was a lot going on in that building. And again, I'm just like, all right, now you got 3 weeks. We'll see if that's an advantage or a disadvantage, right? It was a disadvantage last year. Who knows what it's going to be this year with the college football playoff teams. But coming off that game, I'm like, if you had to lose one between the Michigan game and the Indiana game last week, one, if you would have lost to Michigan a couple of weeks ago, you wouldn't have played Indiana.
Right.
But you understand what I'm saying. I'm like, if there was one to lose, Obviously, you don't want to do that. You were chasing history this year by trying to be the first 16-0 team, back-to-back undefeated champs, all that stuff. But if you were going to lose one, that was the way to do it. And all these issues that crept up yet again, I think may light a fire under this team. Not necessarily saying it was the same, it's going to be the same exact situation, but my concern level is pretty far down on the totem pole.
And I think Ohio State used the 13-10 loss at the end of 2024 to its advantage. It looked in the mirror. It made the adjustments that it needed to. It redoubled its efforts in all three phases, and we know what happened after that. Now, the challenge for this team is to treat this loss by the exact same score with some of the same issues the way that Ohio State did at December a year ago at this time. I would bet that they will. And it would be stunning to me if the Ohio State brain trust, starting at the top with Ryan Day, didn't use these next 3 weeks to come up with the self-scouting and the realization that what they've been doing.
Schemes.
That too. I mean, a personnel scheme, like everything, execute, like everything goes into the same conversation. They were slow to adjust. You're asking for another takeaway that's one rung below. Tegra Shabola was getting annihilated on Saturday night.
They had to pull him in a Big Ten championship game.
But they could have, that was clear before the first drive of the third quarter. And Gabe Van Sickle was a part of those two long drives that we just talked about. They didn't finish in the end zone, but they marched up and down the field with Gabe Van Sickle holding up in pass protection, opening rushing lanes, and putting Ohio State in position to win that game inside the 10. You know, the things that you mentioned there, Beamer, of course the rivalry is going to trump that. And it kept Ohio State in a position that loss only would drop it to number 2 if they lost to Indiana, which they did in what I thought was still stunning fashion. But because of the relative lack of stakes for the playoff and needing to find something else in the red zone, I thought just the decision to kick on 4th and 1 from 9 was more baffling to me. Like, go for it and try and win the game and not play for the hope of overtime, which they didn't even get because, again, they missed field goals with Jaden Fielding when he needed to deliver a chip shot.
Indiana's going down the field like they did on that last possession and getting
they're also allowed
points. I know that
to hold, which it makes it easier. You got to know that. You know,
every team's allowed to do that against Ohio State.
To the
Don't
level
you know that? You've been covering this team for forever. You know that.
I do know the rules. I've been saying them over and over for the last 7 years. But to the level that Indiana did on Saturday night in front of multiple officials and with multiple people tackling Kenyatta Jackson to the ground,
the one got called on K-Mac?
Yeah. It's astounding. The level of incompetence by that officiating crew.
The road to the college football crown would look a whole lot different for the Buckeyes if we were playing by the same set of rules as we were last year. We'll get into that coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Don't miss a minute of the Ohio State football postseason presented by CareSource, Kroger, and Spectrum. Celebrate the culmination of the 2025 season with all of Buckeye Nation and follow along on the official athletic site. From the opening postseason kickoff to the final whistle in Miami, we have you covered. It's the 2025 Ohio State football postseason presented by CareSource, Kroger, and Spectrum. Visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com/postseason central 2025 now for more information. Go Bucks!
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town.properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
The 2026 Buckeye Cruise for Cancer sets sail on the Silver Sea Silver Ray. It's an intimate ship with an even better experience. It's all-inclusive of beverages, shore excursions, taxes, and gratuities. Sail to bucket list ports like the Grand Turk, St. Martin, and St. Thomas. With Buckeye greats including Ryan Day, Bobby Carpenter, A.J. Hawk, the Boren Brothers, Ezekiel Elliott, Ryan Shazier, and more. Sailing from Fort Lauderdale, February 17th through the 24th. Call 614-792-6204 to book today.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Jake Diebler's Buckeyes head to Rocket Arena in Cleveland for a battle with West Virginia.
Live fan coverage starts Saturday night at 7 with the tip at 8.
Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
New creamy parm pizzas are now at Donato's. A decadent new sauce on 2 delicious new pizzas. Try the crave-worthy chicken veggie parm with roasted chicken, fresh veggies, and that rich creamy parm base. Or the savory bacon spinach parm, where smoky bacon meets fresh spinach for parm pizza perfection. Craving something different? Create your own creamy parm pizza today. Donato's. Gotta love more.
Picture it. Your holiday table, the family cooking together, the scent of golden brown bread, rosemary from roasted potatoes, and a salad so crisp it snaps, spiced cider in every glass, laughter around every plate. At Kroger, we know these moments matter, and we make it easier to bring them to life with quality that's affordable in every aisle. This season, don't just host, make every moment unforgettable. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Fair skies, a bit breezy, at least for dry on this Tuesday. Temperatures running around 40 degrees. Down to the low 30s. Rain showers moving in, possibly missing with some snow early on Wednesday. Temperatures in the low 30s, getting to the low 40s by the afternoon. We'll see winds picking up, temperatures dropping by Wednesday afternoon and evening, changing the rain showers to snow showers and continued cold the rest of the week. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
All Buckeyes, all the time. You are listening to The Buckeye Show.
I don't know if it's actually today. Maybe it was last week at some point. Since my very first weigh-in with Awaken 180, started a weight loss program in December. Most people wait. I figured, why not? Let's put it to the test. If I can do this through the holidays, then, there's no party, no trip, no tailgate that's ever going to throw me off again. 1 week down, I dropped 12 pounds. By New Year's, I was already down 30. Awaken 180 changed my mindset, my outlook, changed my life, and it wasn't about waiting for the perfect timing. It was all about the program that will not let you fail. Consultations are still available in December. Get yours on the calendar today. Do what we all did. Choose the solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Call them 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com. Were you on pins and needles on Sunday afternoon at noon in the Woody watching the college football playoff selection show?
I don't know if that's how I would describe it.
Okay.
The chairs in the Woody are super comfortable. I mean, they're made they're made for large humans to sit in. So there's a lot of good padding. Now I was like everything that was flying around on Sunday, Beamer, where, you knew that Indiana won the Big Ten. They were going to the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That was clear.
Knew that Georgia won the SEC and they were going to the Sugar Bowl.
According to the bylaws, they're supposed to go to the Sugar Bowl. There was like a 15-minute period when I was in the Woody on Sunday where it was like, well, hold the phone. Maybe there's these different permutations. If you have to play Texas A&M in Dallas, if you have to play Miami in Miami, that doesn't seem like that would be a real benefit to the number 2 seed, according to the committee. Maybe let's just slide them into the Sugar Bowl, because also maybe Tulane could win, and maybe they would also develop a larger fan base that could make the game in New Orleans more challenging for Georgia. You know,
I don't know about that one.
Something that could theoretically happen. But so that was going back and forth. At one point, I was talking to some of the, powers that be over there in the football program. And they're like, well, we have received practice schedules, travel itineraries for all 4 bowl games. And it was too soon when I said this, but I was like, well, you don't need one of them. And they
don't need the Rose Bowl.
And I was like, I feel like that's obvious, but I did say it, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Hey, it's better to be over-prepared than under-prepared.
Yeah, so they had but that was because they were like getting, some feedback. It's like anything could be on the table here. Now, the last month and a half really had been suggested strongly to me that the loser in Indianapolis was going to go to the Cotton Bowl. And I was like, I was more confused about the rising probability of the Orange Bowl than anything else, because it had been suggested again repeatedly that they were going to go back to the Cotton Bowl for the 3rd year in a row. It's just a home away from home for me. So I'm like, well, that's what's going to happen.
1-1, you got to win the rubber match.
So I was more curious about who was going to be 7-10 and what that potential matchup was going to be, because I still felt pretty confident that they were going to go to the Cotton Bowl. That's not hindsight talking. That's just what I was expecting.
So obviously, if you're listening to this or watching, thanks everybody for watching on YouTube. Like and subscribe. You can also watch Austin and Berm on this very channel. You know who your opponent is going to be. It's going to be the winner of Miami and Texas A&M. You have a New Year's Eve date with either one of them. And then if you were to get past that, you play the winner of Tulane, Ole Miss, and then I'm not going to do the other side of the bracket, but that gets you to the college football playoff national championship game, which happens to be in South Florida. So I was kind of hoping for the Orange Bowl just because it's a 1:00 start on New Year's Day, and then we could settle.
Well, that's why I wasn't wanting the Orange Bowl out of all of them.
Selfish. Austin being selfish. It doesn't matter. You're in. Who cares? Who cares where you're going? You get a bye. You're going to a bowl game. It doesn't matter.
That's what you say. You're doing the post-game show from this studio.
You're the press box snob.
Let's trade the next time that they're in the Rose Bowl.
Deal.
I will cover it from here, and you can ride that bus all over
I've rode
Southern
that bus
California.
Before. I've been on that bus.
I'm just kidding. I'm not passing. That sunset is gorgeous. Who could ever turn that down? It's worth everything else all week long. Yes, it's what you're saying is correct. And that's why I don't think people ask, well, did Ohio State want to advocate for the Orange Bowl? Would they have rather gone there?
Would have been a scouting trip.
And force Texas A&M if they wanted to leave the comfort of the Lone Star State? Would they have rather been in the Peach Bowl than the Fiesta Bowl? Ohio State truly did not care. They will play anyone, anywhere, anytime. And they faced really the most difficult path that they could have a year ago. We all know that, including playing Texas in AT&T Stadium deep in the heart of Texas. So they've faced this before. It is not going to faze them at all. And I don't think that they were all that worked up about wherever the playoff committee sent them.
If you were wondering what the college football playoff situation would have looked like if you were under the same guidelines as of last year, it would have looked a whole lot different. Because remember, if you go back to last year, it wasn't just the top 4 teams in the college football playoff final rankings that get a bye. It was the top 4 highest ranked conference champions that got a bye. Indiana would have been number 1. Georgia would have been 2. Texas Tech 3, and then Tulane would have gotten the bye into...
Well-deserved.
Yes. They have had a great season, all right? I'm not here to poo-poo Tulane. But Ohio State would have been the 5 seed, even though they were ranked number 2 in the final college football playoff rankings. Then you would have had Oregon at 6, Ole Miss at 7, A&M at 8, Oklahoma 9. Where did I miss one? Alabama 10. Sorry, it gets confusing. Then you would have had Miami at 11, and James Madison at number 12. It would have been a home game on the weekend of December 20th against the Dukes of James Madison. Now, I don't want to play hypothetical here.
I think they'd be favored.
If you were to win that game in Columbus against James Madison, you would have played Tulane in the quarterfinals, which would have set you up for a potential matchup either between Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and Indiana. So it's just... the difference in years. Yes, you get a bye. It's cool. You get to go to the Cotton Bowl, Austin. You get to ring in the new year down there in, I'm not going to say Dallas because it's not Dallas. It is technically Arlington. It's no Schlitterbahn. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I'll be there after Christmas.
But it's just a very different year to year. That's a wild ride. That's a wild ride to the championship in past years.
Thank goodness we had year one where they gave it this test run. I don't know why, Beamer, they didn't run any like computer models and simulations before they decided on the guaranteed spots for the top four. And like, you know what? This would be pretty weird if you had, I don't know, the group of 5 team consistently getting into the top 4 thanks to this
Boise
weird.
last year? Boise got the bye,
Boise
right?
and Arizona State last year that didn't deserve to be there and shouldn't have been there. And it got the whole seeding out of whack, which impacted Ohio State. We know that dropped them down a couple spots from where they were actually ranked by the committee. But at least they adjusted that part. Now, that would have been highly advantageous for Ohio State to be playing James Madison and Tulane.
It's an extra game, though.
It is an extra game, kind of.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Are we being real?
Stop dishing on James Madison here, man. You're doing them dirty.
They don't play the same sport.
Don't say that.
They don't.
They play the same sport. Yes, they do.
Okay, if you say so.
I played that sport in high school, too.
Yeah, that's right.
How would you feel going into the horseshoe in mid-December, Isaiah?
I wouldn't feel great.
How many plays do you think you could give us?
I'd probably give 4 before getting hurt.
That's pretty
good.
good.
If I was
That's
playing
a good
corner
run.
on the backside.
Backside corner? What, against Carnell Tate?
They might find you.
So
We
you're
ran the bar.
backside corner, you're taking on Carnell Tate. You're opting away from Jeremiah, but
I
you're
was
taking
hoping
on
that
Carnell.
Julian wouldn't target me immediately. So maybe 2 plays.
Listen, there's no easy road to a college football playoff national championship. We know that. We did a show with Reimer a couple of weeks ago when he was producing, and in this world, it was either Oklahoma and Notre Dame. And he's like, boy, I'm worried about that matchup. I'm like, hey, buddy, you're going to have to play good teams at some point. You're going for a national championship. Now, turns out that Notre Dame did not get into the big dance. That's a whole different story for a different time.
Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, it might be tomorrow. Although I don't think Jacob's in tomorrow. Jacob's all over the place. He never joins us anymore.
Well, you and I can still make fun of.
We can. And Isaiah, are you in tomorrow, Isaiah?
Of course I am.
Tomorrow's show, we're just going to make fun of Notre Dame for an entire hour. Austin had a great time. I'll talk to you tomorrow, all right?
That sounds great.
All right, everybody have a great night. I will be up next because actually we have a minute left to go. Isaiah just told me the hard out time.
Oh.
What else do you want to talk about?
Excellent. I thought we could just get a jump start on Notre Dame.
Yeah, we can.
No, I think that your point about playing good teams is what's important to keep in mind here. Where it is, when it is, if you have a bye, don't have a bye, yeah, that saves you 1 game, but this is the path that's ahead of you. And you have to earn the right to get there, which is critical. But whether that is Texas A&M or Miami, whether they've been on the other side of the bracket, doesn't really matter. Ohio State has proven that they are one of the top 4 teams in the country. They spent most of this selection committee process being number 1. They are the betting favorite to win the national championship again, and they deserve to be. They did lose on Saturday night, but I think that was more a product of Ohio State losing the game than Indiana winning. And if you disagree, you probably live in Bloomington. I think that if this does work out and the top seeds all advance through and you get that rematch at the end in Miami, I'll pick Ohio State to win, and I'll be confident in doing so.
Austin, now I had a great time with you. So much fun. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Let's do it.
Fan warm-up is next on The Fan.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State athletics. The Fan, Ohio